This is the Jack Murphy Podcast. Here's your host, Jack Murphy.
Well, by now, everybody's heard that President Trump is nationalizing or taking over the law enforcement in Washington, D.C., and sending in the National Guard to try to get crime under control in our nation's capital, and also to try to get the homeless situation under control, because it's a big, big problem. Now, all the Democratic Congress people and senators and in and out of office are just jumping up and down, screaming, and they're citing old crime information about how the crime rate has dropped in Washington, D.C. This morning I had on CNN, and there was a woman anchoring this show I was watching. I'm not familiar with the work. I don't know who she is, but indeed there was a politician that she was interviewing, and he was telling her the crime stats, which are out of date, and about how crime is under control, everything's fine, crime is dropping. And she went, well, as somebody on the ground here in Washington, I can tell you that's not true. I've had 4 colleagues who have been robbed, their cars stolen, there was a rape. She said, I myself was jumped 3 weeks ago. And he was kind of taken aback and said, oh, those are isolated incidents. Yeah, if you consider 4 people getting mugged, robbed, car stolen, or jumped to be, an outlying event, then sure, but it's not. And then over on MSNBC, their anchor had one of their reporters out in the field reporting on it. And right as this reporter was finding out that there was nothing the mayor of D.C. could do about it, he kind of had a moment there.
Ken, what have you learned, sir?
Oh, shit. Fuck.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Think we lost Ken for a second. We'll try to get him back there.
Yeah, I think you lost him too. Well, she's becoming the thing that won't go away. I'm talking about Kamala Harris. You know, for a long time after the election, well, not a long time, but for a few months, it was just assumed that Kamala was going to run for governor of California. It seemed like the ball was all teed up. She just had to stand there and swing the bat. But no, she went on the Colbert Show and made this announcement that made no sense at all. It was something about Dougie had missed her birthday and there was 127 days, something. I didn't understand it. And while she laughed and giggled, and nobody really saw it because it was on the Colbert Show. The only place she could have gone more unnoticed would be to appear on the Jack Murphy podcast, but that's besides the point. But there's a new study out, a poll out rather, from Emerson College, and they ranked the potential Democratic presidential candidates for the next cycle, and she came in 3rd. She barely beat AOC, who had 9%. Kamala Harris had 11%. Pete Buttigieg had 17%, and Gavin Newsom, clearly the front runner, with 23%. And I don't know if you know who Morgan & Morgan, the law firm down in Florida, is. They're I think they're the nation's biggest injury law firm. And the founder of the firm, the father, Mr. Morgan, very wealthy man, extremely wealthy man. But he's very liberal. In fact, in this last election cycle, he spent millions of his own money on advertising, promoting a marijuana legalization bill on the Florida legislature. It did not pass. But he gives millions to the Democratic Party every year. And I saw an interview with him where he said, I attended a meeting in Washington after the election with other big donors like myself, and it was just consensus that she could never run for anything anywhere ever again. She was the worst candidate that our party's ever had. It was a waste of almost $2 billion, and everybody's pissed off. That's basically what he said. But she just doesn't get the message.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been.
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 What we can see, what we believe can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by
what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
Who we can be, unburdened by who we have been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Where we can be.
She really went all in on that, didn't she? I mean, I've got this montage, and she must say it 25 different times. She really thought that had some power, that it really had some juice. And, you know, all you can figure is that the people around her were too afraid to tell her, look, I know you really like that unburdened thing, but it just doesn't move the needle. We don't even understand it. I know her staff didn't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't think she understood it, but she just kept on using it over and over and over. Well, big news in the world of podcasting. I'm going to make a prediction today, and the prediction is this. Tomorrow night will be the largest one-time audience for a podcast in the history of the world. That's right. Now, I'm not talking, you might be confused. I'm not talking about the modest Jack Murphy podcast. No. I'm talking about Travis Kelce and his brother's podcast. They have a very popular podcast. You know, those guys, not only great athletes, but they're really funny. I mean, they're good media guys. They're media savvy. Their podcast is excellent, both the audio and video portion. And they're able to get really, really good guests, including tomorrow night when they'll have none other than Taylor Swift as a guest on their podcast. Oh, and tomorrow happens to be the 13th, which I'm informed is Taylor's favorite number. But anyway, the rumor is Taylor's coming on the show, and she's going to announce the release of her latest album and a tour. Also, there's a betting line out there that it may be that Travis pops the question during the podcast. So I don't know anything about that, but the podcast, if you want to search for it, is called New Heights, and it's Jason Kelce. So we'll see what happens. But I predict it's going to be the most watched podcast in the history of the world because of the Swifties. Well, if you're a person whose first experience, the first few years of the internet, I mean, I remember this back in the mid to late 80s, like it was yesterday. I spent a lot of time listening to this noise. What a nightmare. I mean, couldn't it have made the noises better? Really. But one of the last places that you can hear that sound anymore was if you were still on, and I can't believe there still are people that way, maybe just my buddy Champagne, Marty, the wrestler down in Vass, North Carolina, but they're ending AOL dial-up. They're shutting it down. Broadband and wireless lapped up all the dial-up and made it mostly obsolete. But apparently, there's about 160,000 Americans still using dial-up out there, believe it or not. But AOL says they routinely evaluate their products and services, and they're going to discontinue it on September 30th. Now, it doesn't mean dial-up's totally dead. I can't even believe these companies, these names are coming back to me. They're still in business. Net Zero still offers it. Microsoft still offers dial-up. It's mainly to people in remote areas whose only other option is satellite internet, which is pretty expensive. But dial-up can be $10 a month or less, but it's very slow. It tops out at 56 kilobytes per second. So, RIP, America Online. Sorry, Marty. So I thought that movies being shown at theaters, and I guess I still believe it, but I think the theater business is in really big trouble, and everybody knows why. Why would you go out to a theater and pay a bunch of money to see a movie one time and pay 10 times what some really crappy popcorn, maybe a hot dog is worth just to sit in a movie? If it's a date, I would get it or whatever, but I'd much rather sit at home where I can pause the movie and go to the kitchen or the bathroom, whatever I want to do. But there have been a few movies that have popped out lately that are doing really, really well. There was a movie that opened over the weekend, which I'd not even seen the previews for it, but it's a killer. Josh Brolin is in it. And I hear a lot of people talking about it, and they just rave about how good the movie is. And the movie's called, it did $43 million over the weekend. It's called Weapons.
This is a true story that happened in my town. So this one Wednesday is like a normal day for the whole school. But today was different. Every other class had all their kids. But Mrs. Gandy's room was totally empty. And you know why? Because the night before, at 2:17 in the morning, every kid woke up, got out of bed, walked downstairs, and into the dark. And they never came back.
I don't understand at all. Why just her classroom? Why only hers?
Where are our children?
We have a lot of emotional parents here. I think it's best if you keep some distance from this place.
Well, anyway, it's supposedly a very scary, very well done movie. It's called Weapons, and it beat out Disney's Freakier Friday with Scary Good, with $43 million in total taken in at the box office. I don't know. There seems to be more of this every year. I don't understand it. It mystifies me, perplexes me. But what's up with these young white teachers, pretty much? And a lot of them are, normal-looking women, attractive women, having sex with these young boys in their classroom. I just don't understand it. But it happens more and more. The Saluda High School in South Carolina, one of their teachers got arrested, Melissa Grulu. Charges include 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct with a minor, battery in the second degree, contributing to the delinquency of a minor. There are allegations of an inappropriate sexual relationship. A school resource officer was alerted to the situation by other students. That's the other thing. Don't they know that these young boys, they can't keep their mouths shut? They're going to tell all their friends, yeah, I'm getting it on with the teacher. And they're going to tell somebody, it's going to get out. The parents are going to find out. The cops are going to find out. And now she's charged with, being a sexual perv. She's going to lose her job, ruin her career, probably going to jail. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. By the way, one more person who just won't go away, and I guess this is Obama sending him out to try to put doubts in the mind of the American public. He sent Eric Holder out, his former attorney general, who, you know, a lot of people would argue should be in jail because of Crossfire Hurricane. He's the one that came up with the brilliant idea to send automatic weapons down to Mexico, to the Mexican cartel. And he was going to put Apple trackers or something on them, and then they could track down the people that were, sending these guns back across the border. They'd make her. Well, they found the trackers right away, and they just used the guns the way they always do to kill people. But anyway, I think that Obama is really squirming about Russiagate. So Eric Holder comes out on Meet the Press. And why would you have somebody like that on Meet the Press? He came out on Meet the Press and said, there's no factual basis for the Trump administration and their investigation into high-profile Democrats. Host Kristen Welker said President Trump has launched investigations into many of his perceived political foes, which is a misstatement right there. The Attorney General has launched investigations, not the president, including Barack Obama, Letitia James, Adam Schiff. Those are just some of the people. Well, the bottom line is, from what I've read, and I'm certainly not an attorney or a prosecutor, but on the surface, it looks like Letitia James campaigned on going after somebody, and she did, and got them on a nothing charge. And it's something that she herself has apparently done. Lied on a mortgage application. Same thing with Eric Schiff. Lied on a mortgage application. And if he did, he should be held to the same standard that they tried to hold President Trump to. Now, Hillary Clinton, she's trying everything. She's doing her dandelion thing, her climate change for dandelion. She said, I'm a dandelion. It's a group that tries to build awareness for climate change. And then she was screaming on X this morning about Trump nationalizing the police department in D.C., and again used these ancient crime statistics to try to validate her point, which it didn't.
Hi, I'm Hillary Clinton, and I'm a dandelion.
Yeah, I found her. She's right here.
And finally, on the podcast today, you know, we've had several of these incidents at the WNBA level, women's professional basketball. The incidents involve fans throwing neon green sex toys out onto the court. Now, we've had video of 3 such incidents, which we've shared with you here on the Jack Murphy podcast. By the way, if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe, like the video. I think we're at 185 subscribers or so. We're trying to get to 200 here in the next month. But anyway, there have been 3 that we had video of, but it turns out there have been 7 of the sex toy throwings onto the court incidents. We didn't know about the other 4. But the WNBA has come up with, I think, a dumb idea, really. They're making, not all the teams, but I think 7 of them have to put up netting to keep fans from throwing these neon green sex toys onto the court. Now, my question is, you know, as far as safety at the arena, I know when I go to like a Carolina Panther game, or I have been to the Masters in the past, I mean, you're not going to get in with that, because if you carry a bag, it has to be a see-through bag, and you have to go through a metal detector. And I assume there's metal in those sex toys. If some, you know, they got batteries or whatnot. But how safe can it be at these games if you can't keep that out, right? And then if you do put the netting up and somebody now this is how do I describe it? It's a anatomically correct sex toy, right? So if I throw my anatomically correct sex toy at the netting and just that front part goes through the netting and it gets caught up in there and it's hanging, wouldn't that be worse than just scooting that thing off the floor. Plus, the games are bad enough already. Who wants to watch the WNBA through netting? I don't think I would. I don't think anybody does. Well, anyway, thank you for being here today, being a part of the Jack Murphy podcast. Tell a friend. And if you like the video, hit the like button and please subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching the Jack Murphy Podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Go ahead, ring it. Get alerts when a new episode drops, and tell your friends about the Jack Murphy Podcast. But only the cool friends, please. Tune in next time for another episode of the Jack Murphy Podcast.